Welcome, entrepreneurs. Welcome to the 4 Pillars of Entrepreneurship Virtual Summit today. It's a holistic approach to entrepreneurship in the area of health, wealth, personal growth, and business development. My name is Annie Haddock, and I'm your host and founder of the United Networks for Growth. And today, I'm happy to have my guest, Alfonso Cuadra, to be on the virtual summit with us. Alfonso is a dynamic leader that's passionate about sharing his story and inspiring others to create the life that they want and to never give up on your dreams. He truly is in the business of changing lives and has a special gift in his ability to connect with people and move them forward. Known as the ultimate entrepreneur, and he is president and CEO of the Cuadra Group of companies, built several multi-million-dollar companies. And he has shared his story with thousands of audiences around the world. Featured in Reader's Digest, which did a 7-page profile that was published in 16 different countries in 5 languages. TV host and producer of 2 Rogers TV Channel 22 shows called Success by Design Show and Audio Expert. Welcome, Alfonso. I just love to hear your story.
Annie, thank you for having me. Great to be here.
Great. I know you had gone through lots of struggle and immigrated to Canada years before, and just your story is so captivating. That's why I invited you to be on this summit to share your stories with everyone, and everyone can learn from you.
Yes.
Thank you.
It's a great platform that you have, and I am eager to participate. 4 Pillars of Entrepreneurship. This is my subject matter, and I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. So tell us about your story, how you started. Like, you had tough childhood.
Yeah.
Yes, let's start from there. And
yeah, well,
I will ask you questions.
I immigrated to Canada in '86. I came from war-torn country, El Salvador. I was born there in the mid-'70s. Actually, part of my family is from Nicaragua, which we moved back and forth from El Salvador to Nicaragua, and I was actually in 2 wars, both wars in El Salvador and Nicaragua. My mom was involved as a journalist and was illegally incarcerated for telling the truths about the government. Huge civil rights abuses, and we immigrated in '86. After Amnesty International stepped in and actually freed my mom, and came in '86, and I had a really tough time integrating into school, Annie, and eventually dropped out of high school at 15 years old, and ended up on the streets. I was homeless. Had a very dark moments. I would say probably the darkest, lowest moments in my life, but I mean, we've all been there. And at 17, I had a life-changing moment, which has shaped the rest of my life. When I was 17, I became a father to a beautiful little girl. At that time, Talia, now turning 25 years old.
Wow.
So you can imagine how long that was. I was 17 years old and became a father, and I discovered, my why, my purpose. And that purpose was so powerful that at 17, I started a business. And before I turned 20 years old, that business was a successful business with many locations across Canada. And I discovered that, being an entrepreneur was where I was supposed to be. And so, looking back in retrospect and seeing all the benefits and everything that entrepreneurship has done in my life, I around 29, I decided that I wanted to give back. And so the why shifted and has transformed into, being in a position of service to people. I coach, I mentor, I invest in other people's companies, and I'm having the time of my life. I'm now turning 43 years old. I have two beautiful daughters, and yeah, it's all because of entrepreneurship.
Do you think, what I heard your story about is the shift seems like it's from the birth of your child. Was
Yes.
that a turning point for you that you
Yes.
want to be building a life that you can support your child, your family? Right?
Yeah, so for the most part, if you can imagine being 15 years old on the streets, sleeping on park benches in the cold, sometimes, sleeping in banks, right, to get out of the cold. For me, I was very angry and I had a lot of blame, so everybody was responsible for my problems, right? I was angry at the war back home. I was angry at, my teachers, my parents. My dad left when I was 2 years old. And so I had a lot of anger and a lot of blame. When my daughter was born, it was for the very first time in my life, I was able to look outside of myself and think about somebody else other than myself. And so, that can happen instantly, right? And a child can do that, but it's more about discovering why you want something. For the most part, people have really great goals in life and they want to do a lot of great things, but they really don't know why they want these things. And so for me, when I looked at this little girl, it gave me purpose. And if someone with a purpose powerful enough, they become an unstoppable force. And that's what happened to me at 17. When I looked at this little girl, I wanted her to be proud of me. And I kept saying to myself, I want her to say my dad owns the building, not my dad cleans the building or is incarcerated in the building. That's where I was headed. And so for me, that was a driving force. And I didn't even realize till I was way, way into my career, in my late 20s, where, I'm buying properties all, at that time it was all across Ottawa. And I would bring my daughters to my properties. And I remember she was walking ahead of me and she was talking to one of her friends and she says, my dad owns the building. And at that point, I realized that having a why is a very powerful force. And everybody wants goals and has goals, but you need to know why you want them.
Yes, the true purpose of why you do what you do.
Exactly. Right?
Wow. And then I know there's another transition you said when you were 29 and you start giving back to others.
So it was a result of this article that you talked about in the intro. This Reader's Digest article that went to 16 different countries, translated into 5 different languages. And the article was a 7-page profile, which I didn't even know it was going to be a profile. I thought it was going to be a little snip, when they came and interviewed me. I thought it'd be something in the back of the magazine. But it was a 7-page profile layout with different pictures and whatnot. And as a result of that, I got letters. We used to get letters in the mail back then, but letters in the mail, emails, people connected to me on social media, and from all over the world, saying that my story inspired them to do amazing things in their life. And so at that point I realized, and that another shift happened in my life at that point, where it's not so much of what I wanted to accomplish in my life, but how I was going to use my life in order to inspire others to live theirs to the highest capacity. And so that was the shift, when it's okay, actually I have a mission, and my mission is to use my story in a way that could inspire and could be a positive impact on my community, on my people, on the world itself.
That's really great. So every time we achieve success, in your case, it's because you found the purpose,
Yes.
right? You first found the purpose of, really the driving force to get you to work on your entrepreneurial journey to
Yeah.
raise your family. And then the second shift was when you were 29, seeing the purpose of helping others through your stories.
Yes. Yes.
That's beautiful.
And so that's like I've dedicated my life to service. I want to be in service. And what I discovered, there was a shift that happened at 29 where, I thought I was doing really well, but when I had that shift to servicing people, to providing, service in any one of my companies, those are core values. We want to be in a position of service. I started to, build community around all of the companies that I have, and everything started to move up bigger and better than I've ever even imagined. And so, for the most part, a lot of the times people are in their own way, right? And
Yeah.
so even though I did achieve a lot of success, at 29, I discovered that there was so much more. There was so much more. And the idea is bigger than me.
Wow. I have just learned from you. So you started out with nothing, like homeless, and
Yes.
then you have your turning point at age 17, and then you reached the point where you accumulated wealth and like a family and all that, and then you did another shift, which is important to get. So first you had all your achievement of success, and then you turn on to build your community, and you end up having the fulfillment and purpose in life. Like
Yes.
there's lots of people like they reach their success, but they're empty inside.
Yeah. And
Right.
people don't
But
know what success really means. Like people haven't defined it. Like
yes,
people measure success in monetary terms,
yes,
and which are good metrics because we live in an economic planet. And so
yes,
that's one part of the report card, right? There's
yes,
other parts of the report card, like what contributions, what are you leaving behind, legacy. And so if you were to go to school and you have an A in economics and an F in everything else, then nothing, you're still not passing that grade. And so that's the same thing. A lot of people measure it just in either in health or, they're very linear in the way they measure success. And so for me, I think believe in expansion, and it has to be a full expansion of everything in life, right? And it only happened to me when I realized that you need people, community, and the only way people are going to be with you is if you're in a position where you're serving them. That's the only way.
yes. I think that's why we have such a like-minded
Yeah.
what about entrepreneurship. That's why you're on the show. Because my goal of starting this United Networks for Growth just this year, 2020, it's because I've been building community like locally for business serving entrepreneurs for 22 years. But I still find that I can serve even more people, and also through my journey, I learned from
Yep.
what I've been through is just focusing on business development is not enough for entrepreneurs. That's why it comes with that 4 pillars of entrepreneurship. It's about health and the wealth and personal growth. I think personal growth is so important that lots of time entrepreneurs just focusing on their business and forgot about their own health or personal growth.
Yeah.
Keep
Yeah.
growing.
Yeah. Well, you need expansion in all the pillars of life. And so, people forget that it's not just one aspect, that gives you that fulfillment, the overall fulfillment.
Yes. And we have your video of, is that your book?
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. So the problem with the Zoom here is that it's attached to my phone, and anytime someone calls here, let me see if I can put
it shows on.
I'm going to put it on airplane mode so it doesn't interrupt us again. Yeah, so it can't be one-sided, Annie. You know, like we want to make sure we look at a whole life, and this is part of, you know, what I teach in a lot of my workshops and my presentations. Is like, you know, you need to you know, follow all the categories of your life and just expand on everything. Everything you need to expand. And most people want to play small, right? Or they don't have confidence in certain areas. But you win nothing from playing small in life. You cannot expand and contract at the same time. You cannot conserve and build and grow. And so what happens is people get in their own way, and sometimes it's ego, could be other reasons, but you have to allow other people to contribute in your life. Community is you cannot have a community of you know, with no people, right?
It's not a community.
You need people to grow. And what I learned the difference between the 20s and my 30s and now 40s is that there is no great small organization. All great organizations are big, right? Because now you have allowed other people to contribute to it and to allow it to grow and service more and more people. You cannot service more and more people being a solopreneur, you know, automating everything and expecting, you know, to build this global company with like only 3 employees, right? And so that was the difference, you know, between, you know, what I was doing before, because before it was more about me, right? Even though I had great ambition in my 20s, but I was like, okay, I can't hire someone because I can't afford them. And I don't want to, you know, if I hire too many people, it's less money for me. It's less money for me. And so if it's all about me, then that's where it's going to stay. All entrepreneurs need to realize that, you know, you have great ideas, but if it's about you, it will stay and die with you. And the only way to get that idea out there is to build community, build their organizations, and forget about you. Ask yourself, what about them? Like, what's in it for them? How can they thrive within your organization? And so once you get out of your own way, what happens is everything starts to push upwards and it starts to build, and it becomes really fun at that point.
Yeah, it's like motivating others to also be on your side to go together. You're driving, well, not necessarily you driving the bus, but
everybody, you know what? It's everybody has, like,
yeah.
The best idea that I could ever have, it's not even the best idea, right? It's only when you can put an idea and people can discuss and contribute to the idea where it really becomes a really great idea. But not only that, you have ownership and commitment from everybody sitting on that table. Humans don't love to change unless they're part of that change, right? A company needs to evolve and grow and expand. But for human beings, this is why, like, there's huge industries built on change management, right? Because when a company decides to pivot and change, there's resistance from all the employees. The reason there's resistance is because they had no part of that change, right? It was only the high-level executives that got into a little room and decided that they're going to change everything, and now they need to hire all these consultants to help them with change management. But if you get people involved in the change, there is no more resistance. There's going to be commitment because they have ownership and they can grow with the organization.
For entrepreneurs, like for me, I've been an entrepreneur for 30 years, but like it's not like we're not using other people's service, just they're not full-time employees. What is the difference when you see, they're, because I work in corporate world before, I just find that there is like time that there might not be anything to work because you are only hired to do that specific job. I think that's kind of a waste of time, but what about that sharing of time? Say for a marketing person, for my company, I only use certain number of hours of their time, right? So in a sense, you're still having a lot of different, getting lots of business support from other people. Do you think that people have to be a full-time employee in order to commit to your project, or you can, like an entrepreneurs can still grow a business and organization by using all their connections and help them in different area, and that's more, to me, seems more cost effective?
Well, there's different ways of growing, Annie. So there's the, okay, so you're at the starting point, like a startup, right? And so startup, there's great opportunities for you to have buy-in from people because the idea is a baby, right? And so essentially what happens is, people say, well, I want to, if I keep all to myself, then, when this grows, I'm going to have 100% of it, right? The problem is, 100% of nothing is still nothing.
Right.
Right. And so I'd rather collaborate with people, right? Get, whatever you're missing in your life, you can get it from somebody else, right? OPM, other people's money. OPT, other people's time. OPC, other people's credit. OPS, other people's systems, right? So I want to tap into the resources of what's around me. Now, it's true what you're saying. Like, there is an opportunity to outsource some of the items, but if the people are not working together in building, there's no energy, there's no synergy that happens, right? Mm-hmm. And so this is the biggest problem that I think is facing entrepreneurs, the idea of outsourcing. What happens when you outsource? Yeah, you make a couple of million, but a couple of million is not going to change or do anything, right? You can make a living. I'm not here to make a living. I want to create a global organization that can impact millions of lives around the world. And so the only way you can do that is when people come together, whether they're partnerships, whether they're subcontracts, they're self-employed, whatever it is, I need to bring the people and work together. And this is what happens. Like, people get stuck in this solopreneur where you get results, like you can sell an item on Shopify and all. I mean, you'll get results, but unless you start bringing in people, you're not going to be able to grow. But of course, you need to be sensible and smart about the people that you bring in. People that you bring in should bring in revenue, right? It's not about, like bringing in people to push papers, right? I don't believe in the paper pushers. Things like, whatever I can outsource, I will. But I also am going to have a core of people working with me to build the companies.
Mm-hmm. Yes, very good point. So how can our audience, entrepreneurs, get in touch with you?
Yeah, so you can just Google me and you'll see, I'm on YouTube. You can find me on YouTube. I have, 600 videos on YouTube and social media, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok. I am everywhere. And we did talk about an offer that I was going to give to your audience. And so they can simply, for that offer, it's a 20-minute discovery call. If you are interested in real estate, building business,
Mm-hmm.
I do a lot of mentoring and coaching for all the realms that I've been successful in. And so if you want to have a 20-minute discovery call, absolutely free, no obligation to do anything. Email info@alfonsocuadra.com, info@alfonsocuadra.com. And on the title of your email, it should read 4 Pillars of Entrepreneurship, free gift. And that was just something that I wanted to offer your audience.
Thank you so much. Yep, I guess you have inspired so many people around the world, and I hope the audience will go on to YouTube and then search for and listen to your video, and that's how I found you.
Yeah. Well, I've been very vocal. Any opportunity that I get to be in front of an audience, I will take that opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
I've spoken all across the world, on stages, online, on television, on TikTok, wherever platform there is that I can share that message and just, plant a seed in someone that says, you know what, I could be bigger. I could grow this. I mean, there's a reason why, we're all here. It's not to be small, it's to be great. It's to grow, to create. And so I challenge everybody to stretch your goals more than you've ever thought you could. And so what makes a good goal? It's something that excites you and scares you at the same time, right? And so what happens is, it's not the fact that people don't have goals, because I think a lot of people have goals. The problem is their goals are too small. That's the problem. Everybody's reaching for what they think they're capable of. And as you know, Annie, we are living way beneath our potential, all of us as humans. Mm-hmm. And so imagine if we can all live at our full potential, what would happen on Earth? It would be like a renaissance on Earth. And so I'm going to, challenge your audience to reach a little bit further than what they thought they could do.
Yes, I'm so happy to have you in here, because you know what? I invite people who has the open mind to allow people to grow big, because there are some people so protective. They say, don't go there. No, they give zillions of reason why you won't, like, whatever you're dreaming of won't work, right? It doesn't matter. That's why I need to surround with people that inspire me and keep motivating all entrepreneurs to go beyond what their comfort zone is, right?
Exactly.
But thank you so much.
Thank you. Annie.
So remember to connect with Alfonso, sending him an email at info@alfonsocuadra.com and put on the title, on the subject line in your email, 4 Pillars of Entrepreneurship, free gift. All right? Thank you so much, Alfonso.
Thank you, Annie. It was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.